Okay, seems to be working. All right, so it's today's date is Tuesday, September 11th, and we're going to be looking at an introduction to the course that we're going to be taking this year, math, finance, and short name is Fin and Work. Finance and Workplace. A lot of people just call it Fin and Work, but it is your Math 110, grade 11. Yesterday I gave you a SMART goal, and most of you have already returned it. I've asked you in your learner's preference to try and develop one, base it on something specific like what, who, how, or when. So before I forget, I got to put this timer on so I don't go over. Okay. So some of the things I got were like to pass with a reasonable mark. The problem with that is, what is reasonable? You know, some people may say 60 is reasonable to me because all I want to do is pass. Other people may say, well, to me, I like to make 75. Other people say, I like to make 80. So reasonable is too subjective. You got to be specific. What do you want as a mark? To do better than last year. Well, what is better? I don't know how you did last year, and better means what? If you made 20 last year, it means you want to make 30 this year? That's better, but it's not passing, right? So it's too subjective. Complete the course with a high mark. Well, maybe Isaiah's high could be 90. Maybe Corey's high is 80. I don't know. So that's why you got to be something specific. And other people they want to study harder or study more, work harder. Again, you can't measure that. You know, if you're working your best and someone says, work harder, well, what are you talking about? I'm doing the best I can, right? So that really doesn't define it. Here's something that's a bit better, and I gave you an example yesterday. If I can put it up. In the next semester, ending January 27th, there's the time. I will complete all my math assignments and pass them in on the due date. That is a specific goal. That will guarantee that you are going to be getting a credit in math. Okay? Now, as far as the mark goes, I'm not sure. It all depends on the quality of the work. But if you do all these things, then of course you're going to be successful in math. Okay? Because you're meeting one of the requirements for it. The information I gave you yesterday, the course outline, which is on your pickup box, you'll see a copy like this. Okay? What it does, it has a description of what you're expected to bring here. Now, I know scientific calculators, you have it with you, maybe you do. I have extra calculators that are all scientific on the computer. The only thing is I don't want you to be using is your cell phone one. I don't consider a cell phone a scientific calculator. So go to the computer, all right? That'd be the best thing. Binders. I'd like you to keep all of your math work together in one binder if you can, because there's going to be a lot of worksheets. What Ms. Hashi suggested is that there's some extra binders here. Once you get your work back, you just put it in that binder. You can store it up in this box here. And then you can always pick it up anytime to review it if you're going to do a quiz or a test or see how your marks are. That way you don't get lost. You don't have to throw it in the garbage. You'll have it, okay? So I went over yesterday the scheme for marking. This is a bad representation for it. I'm going to go back to my slide here. So today, remember I told you we're going to be looking at targets. So today you're just going to review the course outline and complete a pre-test. So this is basically what's going to be required. And each day I'll put something up like that up there, what you think you're going to be learning in very simple forms. So when you think you have completed it, it means you reviewed the course syllabus and you understand the expectations. That way you don't come to me a report card time and say, you know, why my mark only 50? Why isn't it 60? Well, go back to the expectations. This is what you were expected to do. You didn't come to classes. You didn't do the assignments. That's why you didn't get your 60. So that's already spelled out. Okay? You're going to get the materials you need for the course, so all of you, as long as you have a lot of it supplied here. And then you have completed this pre-test. You either finish it today or hand it in by tomorrow. I think by 3 o'clock is the due date, right? Each day. Okay. So, I already talked about that. Now the units we're talking about. First thing we're going to look at is the trig. And we already explained a little bit about trig. It's to do with right triangles. We're not going to deal with funny shaped triangles, just the right ones. Remember, a right triangle has a particular type of angle in it. Does anybody know what that is? 90 degrees. One of the angles has to be 90 degrees. That makes it a right triangle. Okay, and we're only going to be working with that type. We do a little unit on drawing on design. That's basically just looking at different ways of portraying things, from orthographic into three-dimensional using isometric drawings. Some people will get into that in their work, so we're going to bit on that. Banking and budgeting is important, from looking at how do you keep an account balanced, and looking at making a budget. What are all the expenses? A lot of you. They're what? It is for this course. I don't think you've done this. You did a bit of banking in grade 10, but this is a bit more of developing your own budget, and I'll show you how to do that. Salary, well, maybe it's a pickup on that. And expenses, how much you're going to pay for rent, how much you're going to pay for a car, things like that. Slope, we'll do a little bit on that, and interpreting graphs if we have time. Basic graphs like line graphs and histograms and circle graphs, things like that. So those are the units we'll cover. Remember, yesterday I told you most of your work is going to be counted on the assignments. We have a little test coming, 20%. So if you do the assignments, you're here every day, you get a pass mark already. But if you're failing in that, and you're depending on just the final exam, even if you made 100, you're still only going to get 20%. The higher, the more you put into it, the higher your mark. And you got to achieve at least 60% to get a credit. Remember, grade 11, you have to have a math course to get your diploma, the grade 11. Before you get grade 11, you get grade 10, which you have. But grade 11, you need this math course to get your diploma. This is the sheet I'm going to hand out. Now, on your calculators, I'm not sure, the ones on your computer, you'll have a symbol like this. It may be an upside down V, or it could have a key like this, y to the x or x to the y. Those are things that will give you for when you want to make exponents. Say this is a power, right? 2 squared. Now if I know you probably know what the answer is, because it means 2 multiplied by 2, right? If you put in your calculator, you're going to get this answer 4. However, if it's a big number like, say, 13 squared, you may not know that. So you put it in your calculator. Well, in your calculator, you would put in the number 13. Then you would hit this key, either this one here or this one here, y to the x. And it's going to ask you, when you do this, what is the number, the power that you're going to put it to? So then you would put in the number 2. And then your answer would probably be something like 169. Okay? So I've written these rules on there so that when you do these pre-tests, you'll know which way to use the calculator. So maybe if I can bring one up just to show you on the calculator. See, now this is not scientific. See, this symbol right here, x to the y. So if I went 2, x to the y, 2 equals, I get 4. If I had 13 and I go x to the y and I want to square it, 2, that gives me 169. Yep. You can. There's also this one here. Thank you very much. I'm just going to bring that to your attention. You could put in 13 and hit the square button. Good. Now, what if it was a number, though, that was like this? 13 to the 4th. To the 4th power. Well, you don't have that on your calculator, right? It's just x squared. Some of you might have an x cubed, x3. So this is where you use this y to the x. So if I put, let me clear this. There's a clear button right here. I'll put 13 x to the y. And this time I want to go to the 4th. So I put 4. And it equals, and there I get my number. 28,561. So it becomes handy when you have to have a number bigger than squared. Okay, that's the advantage. The next thing you need to remember is bed mass. Remember, that's the order of operations. Whenever you're calculating multiple operations, you have to do what's in brackets first. Bed, brackets. So if you have a numbers like 2 plus 3 divided by 6, and then I'm going to add another 2 over here. I have to do what's in brackets first before I add this. Do what's in brackets first. Then you do exponents. So if I had 3 squared, DE, I do the exponents. So then I would go, what is 2 plus 3 squared? Well, 3 is going to be 9. 3 times 3 is 9. And then I have to go to the next one. Division, multiplication, addition, subtraction. I do that in the order. You do subtraction the last. I would do addition after I did everything in here. So I have to do everything in the brackets first before I add this. Okay? Bed mass. Whenever you're doing something, when you get a number, ask you, is it reasonable? So sometimes you get these numbers, that doesn't look right because it's not reasonable. Check your work and see where the mistake was. And we're going to be working with triangles sometimes. And I'll explain this later again, but if you have a triangle, remember, one angle is always right angles, 90 degrees. The norm, the standard is that we label the angles with uppercase letters. Okay? Big letters. That's angles. That's that angle here. That's that angle here. That's that angle here. The sides, though, is lowercase. So the side that's opposite here is A. The side that's opposite here is B. And the side that's opposite this one is C. So that's how we label it. Angles with big letters, sides with little letters. Lowercase that we call it, okay? And then to solve variables in denominator, cross multiply, or use your equivalent ratios. I'll be going over that again, but that basically that means, see if we can get this down lower. I know it's a lot to cover today. It's kind of a review, but we're going to pick this up again. So don't feel threatened if you think, oh, I don't remember that. Those are the things that you can come to me for help. We're going to be talking about those more in each of the lessons. So what does this mean? Well, if I have something like this. How do I solve that? This is the number I'm trying to find. Well, it says that we could cross multiply or use equivalent ratios. So I'll be reviewing that. That means cross multiplying means I'm going to multiply this by this, 3 times x. I'm crossing it over, 3x, and then I cross this, equals 2 times 4, which is what? 8. And then I want to solve for x, means I got to get rid of that 3. I divide by 3. Whatever I do to this side, I have to do to this side. These cancel out, so x equals 8 over 3. And you can change that to a decimal. That's what cross multiplying is. All right? And show your steps when you calculate. If you only give me the answer and it's wrong, then it's all wrong. I don't know where you made a mistake. But if a question is worth 4 points and you got everything done everything right except maybe the last number is wrong, you just made put in the wrong number in your calculator, then you should get credit for at least getting all those other steps right. So you would get maybe 3 out of 4 instead of 0 out of 4. But if you only gave me the answer without any work, then I have to mark it all 0 out of 4. But all your steps are right until the last one. Oh, you just hit the wrong number, then you get partial credit. Okay? All right, so that's going to be in the back of your sheet that I hand out today. This is going to be a pre-test. I want you to try and evaluate, means solve. Evaluate means solve. without using the calculator. So what's 2 squared, 3 squared, 5 squared, 10 squared? Easy numbers, right, Isaiah? Just put that in your calculator, hit the square button. Estimate, then calculate. Well, what's 5.1 squared? Use your calculator. And then we're going to do these evaluates 3 squared plus 4 squared. Remember, you do exponents first, and then add. Dead mass. Square these first, and then add it. Like here. 3 squared is going to be 3 times 3, which is 9. And 4 squared is 4 times 4, which is 16. Then I add them together, and I get 25. Okay, so you do the exponents first. And then square roots. Those are things on your calculator. Take the square root. You know where the square root sign is on your calculator? Everybody? Okay. If I have this 28561 as my number, what's the square root? I hit this thing here, and there's the square root, 169. It means 169 by 169 is that 28651. All right. So that's it for today. Tomorrow we'll start looking at, this is just the pre-test, we'll start looking at maybe some basic things in trigonometry. Okay? Thank you. Let's stop this.